Hey, what's up? As y'all pop in, be sure to hit the like button. Lets me know that you guys do enjoy these things, which seems to just normally be the case, but always love when I do. Lots to catch up on, namely the title. We start with that. But feel free to start putting y'all's questions in here. So, a couple things happened that made me kind of pick this as a topic today. One is the NFT in the NFT world. There is a NFT that's basically just an NFT rock. It's called Ether Rock. It literally is like a terrible drawing of a rock. Like this kind of cartoony drawing of a rock, and they're basically priced at 100,000 now. So there's a recent transaction at 100,000, which is kind of big news in the NFT world, but I think has kind of broader ramifications. One of which leads into this whole Google problem. It's a problem faced by Amazon right now. It's a problem faced by Apple. And the really cool thing is that, as private equity fund managers, as deal makers, we're in a position to help solve this problem. And the exciting thing is, those are the people that have this problem at a big level, but like it's just across the board. And it's basically the problem of too much capital. There's just way too much money, and most people don't know what to do with it. So with Google at that 135 billion, they literally just aren't doing it. They're literally losing money every single day because they don't have anywhere to deploy it. And they're doing some pretty cutting edge stuff. We see Amazon doing some cutting edge stuff, including, and this may not seem cutting edge, but part of the cutting edge is the fact that Amazon Bezos just gave $100 million to Van Jones. And a lot of people are like, why did he do that? Van Jones, this guy who's on CNN. Bezos just gave him 100 million. Just like, hey, just do something with this. Just go and do something with this. And it's hard for us to imagine, but in a world where the government's literally just printing, we've got trillions more that are just going to come out of thin air and be pushed into the market with this infrastructure bill, which, I think is actually it's better than the last two bills that put trillions of dollars into the market. But all of this money is just getting pushed to market. It's driving stock up. It's getting eventually ends up in a lot of times in companies because they're kind of tax protected, but ends up in wealthy individuals' pockets and bank accounts and all this stuff. And then you've got to do something with that money to put it to work. And to describe and give you a picture of the problem, when it comes to a lot of these large companies, is that, it doesn't make sense to go and deploy, $100 million in something, $500 million in something, or even $1 billion in something that's not going to be really, really big because it's not going to have a dent on your bottom line. It's going to take resources and headache. And so what they want to be able to do is just take the money and put it somewhere where somebody has a track record. And I talk about these big companies, but that's just to kind of give you the picture that, under Google, there are all these other companies that are 1/1000th the size, which don't have $100 billion problem, but they do have a $10 million problem where, it's just putting this capital to work. And, I see it in our businesses, in my businesses now. Let me know if the background noise is too much for you guys. But I see it in our business, just having a conversation on one of our deals where we're obviously just in every business. I'm trying to make sure we do have crypto. While I am a very big believer, I'm still not as hardcore as Michael Saylor, who is really, really all in, mad props and mad respect. But we've got kind of we have a lot of different assets to manage within each of these businesses, and kind of one of my visions is that eventually those businesses can turn over the additional cash, which essentially is kind of what I'm doing. But they can turn over that additional cash to a private equity fund. And it's really interesting because it ends up being kind of this rolling problem, because as each private equity fund does a deal, we do that over the course of 2 years. That business is throwing off free cash flow. We're trying to look for places to put that cash flow to make additional money. And then we sell that business. And so, if another fund buys it, now it inherits that, very good problem of, okay, now we have to, while we build this business, we need to make sure that we're putting all of the resources to work. And so, I put that title there as a, kind of just signal for you guys that, now is the time to get really good at this, because we're just seeing the beginning of kind of, this trickle down effect of printing trillions of dollars. And then those people, that it ends up in the pockets of, like, that money just doesn't, a lot of times we hear about them printing money, we think it just, I don't know what people think, but it ends up in people's pockets. And then they're very motivated to put that money to work, because the side effect of that is inflation. And we did have record inflation in the most recent report. So it becomes really important kind of on both ends. There's more money, and that money needs to be invested. And right now, most companies just aren't doing anything with it. They're literally losing money. So it's a big opportunity. It's going to get even bigger. I think we're just at the beginning of this. All right, let's get to some of y'all's questions. Let's see. Melvin Menendez, what's up? What's up? He says, "How you doing?" I am great, man. I am great. I've been traveling quite a bit. Also, we've had quite a bit going on. We're doing a few deals in Peppy 3. We just got the team and everybody picked for Peppy 4. And so that is in the process of getting rolling. Idarious, what's up, homie? So he says, "What up, Ace? What are you still in Latin America?" Actually, I wasn't in Latin America for the last 2 months. I was in the U.S. So did Miami first, Orlando, then Atlanta, then Chattanooga. Got to hang out with the fam. Went out to Las Vegas, did my birthday in Vegas, which was a blast, and 4th of July. Like, if you haven't done 4th of July, that was my first time doing 4th of July in Vegas. If you haven't done 4th of July in Vegas, I would definitely give it a thumbs up. It was a blast. Of course, the fireworks were epic, as you would expect. So then went back to chat, took the fam, we went to a cabin up in Gatlinburg, for any folks familiar with that area. So it was a tremendous amount of traveling in a short period of time. So that was the most time, especially straight, that I've spent in America in probably 2 years, because I decided to give up my expat tax for the year, just to spend some more time with family and all that. But I am on a quick trip right now. So went to Mexico, now Colombia, and then I'll be back in the States in a few weeks. So I decided to kind of make I've got the stamina for it. So we've got a lot of meetings. We did, while I was in the States, we did Deal Makers Weekend. We have a couple more of those coming up for the rest of the year, which was really awesome. Man, just a really great group. 2 guys, I think Curtis is flying up soon. 3 of the folks from that are closing on a deal, that they're a team. And then another of the 8 folks that were at Dealmakers Weekend just closed on a car dealership. So we got both coasts. So those 3 guys are closing this week on a deal in Washington, D.C. Shout out to John. Shout out to Aziz. John is closing in California on a car dealership. So Definitely a very cool deal next weekend of just some folks that would come in. We had, I think, 8 folks. So a mastermind. We got to dig into everybody's deal and just the creation of a portfolio, which is really what we're trying to do here. This isn't just go out and buy a business. It's, where where's the path for building like true generational wealth. All right, what else we got? Jimma S, what's up? Says Ace, only just got introduced to your content at MPE. What's your advice on how to get started? I would start with my video on the my 5 favorite private equity books. Check that out. If you just search Ace private equity books, it will pop up. That is it just because and the reason I always push people there is that this isn't something that we've got even the foundation of knowledge in. So when you compare this to like real estate, the reason that everybody does real estate and that there's so much competition in real estate is because we all know somebody who's bought real estate. We all know somebody who who's a real estate investor, like got that uncle, or we've heard of somebody, or we've seen the commercials, or we watched a video on YouTube. We understand the foundation, and we know what a mortgage is. We know where to go to get a mortgage. We know, there's going to probably be this thing called an appraisal. We know that there's an inspection, and so just in conversation, in commercials, and kind of hearing about other people doing it, we all just have this kind of foundation of what real estate is, and so we know what investing in real estate is going to be. When it comes to private equity, or even acquiring businesses, especially if you come from a background like mine, like I mean, I literally hadn't heard about a business until one was offered to me to buy when I was 19 years old, or not even offered to me. Somebody just mentioned like, "Oh, sell this business." It's like, I never even considered that as a possibility. And so you take that a step further and you look at something like private equity. And, part of it is they've done a good job to kind of keep that world closed off. But the other part is that, if you want to start even thinking like a private equity investor, it takes having that same kind of level of foundational knowledge that you just walk around with when it comes to real estate. Mike Wise, what up? All right. Mike asks, Ace, why will PE continue its upward momentum? That's such a great question. So when you look at like that example of like Google and Apple and everything that they're trying to do, a lot of what they're trying to do is like 20 years in the future, 100 years in the future. I think that there's only so much that they're going to do that's going to have an impact on their growth. And, everybody in America has their products, you know what I mean? Like everybody's using it. So you've got kind of 100% saturation of the market. There's not a lot of opportunity for just getting new customers and getting new exposure and all of that. So you look at like the growth potential of some of those, and then you compare that to just on the micro side. And so I want to talk about 2 aspects of private equity. So it's not just PE. I don't think that PE's, the returns are actually going down, which is one of the reasons that, I probably have 100 emails in my inbox right now from PE firms that are trying to figure out how they can leverage the micro world and the international world. And so PE in general, I'm not bullish on. I don't think it's going to continue its upward momentum. In fact, it's gone down, but they're still going to do really well as fund managers, which is important because the returns in general from a inflation and the Fed rate and all that has brought general returns down. So for the PE firms, a lot of people are just looking for that exposure. They're going to invest and they don't care that the returns are terrible. So you compare that to micro private equity, and the returns are really great. especially right now, because you have the opportunity to buy these businesses that were hit by Corona, that were hit by what is going on with just employees not wanting to work, and just really a lot of issues that they've had to face over the last couple of years. And so there's obviously a lot of upside because of that. But in general, we're just buying things at a really great return. So we're buying things at a 3 multiple. They're buying things at a 10 multiple. So you that's on the micro private equity side. So just buying a regular deal, we're getting a lot higher returns than the is available in the market right now. So you combine that with the international market. In the international market, you can buy things at a 1 multiple in a lot of cases, at a less than 2 multiple. And so basically the momentum in our space, in the micro and international space, is that people are searching for yield, and there's just not a lot of places to find yield. And so what I'm doing with Pefi is building the people's track records so that there is kind of this audited track record to say, okay, here are all these different types of funds that you can come into and get access to, like, a very consistent yield. So that's let me know if that answers your question, or if you'd like me to go a little bit deeper. I am happy to, Mike. But that at a high level is one of the reasons I'm very bullish. One of the reasons that I'm putting a lot of work into kind of creating these teams and managers and developing them into a really great private equity fund, or micro private equity fund managers. True Heavy, what's up, man? It says, "Hey Ace, good to be here. What is your definition of a microprivate?" That's a great question. And what advice or insights can you give from your perspective about doing mid and upper market deals? So a micro private equity fund is basically, I consider a business that's doing deals that are under $5 million in size. So it may not be based on profit, it may not be based on the revenues or multiple. It could just be, the deals that we're doing are under $5 million in size. The reason that it's such a different space is that most of the time it is a single owner that's selling that business. And what are not even a single, it's just the managers, the people that are running that business are the people that are selling that business. When you get a little bit bigger, in a lot of cases, there could be somebody who, owns a $50 million business or $100 million business, but the owner of the business isn't necessarily selling it. At that point, they've probably sold to other investors. They've brought on an executive team, and that creates a different dynamic. In that world, the private equity funds are they're coming for those deals, so it's very competitive. So you're not going to get, I talked about our cash on cash return in Pefi One being 300%, which is outrageous in private equity, and the main reason is because we don't have to compete with other private equity funds. And if anything, we're competing with our, we're on fund number 4 right now. So we're going to compete at whole. I'd love to get to the point where we can compete against each other. And with the main reason being that, I want the best fund to win, because if one fund can figure out how to make a deal work at a higher multiple, then, that fund should get the deal. But that's how I categorize micro. Now, the other part, any insights on how to do mid upper market deals? I'm actually, you'll have to define that. So kind of tell me what you mean by mid and upper market deals. Mike Weiss says, "Thank you, Ace. No prob." Jim says the same. Awesome. So the other thing that I think is interesting in the market that we're in right now is that there just are so many opportunities. This is the first time in kind of my life where we're in a fund, and it's just like, oh my god, we did this promotion in one of the deals in Pefi 2 today, and you just start to realize like the low hanging fruit is fatter than it's ever been. I think that may be the best way to put it. It just is there are so many opportunities that the time is the toughest thing. Trying to filter out what's going to give the maximum amount of leverage leverage on one end and generate the maximum amount of ROI on the other end. That is the bigger issue, just because there are a lot of opportunities right now. Montreal says, "Hey Ace, are the businesses you guys looking at brick and mortar, or are they online?" Both, both. So we've done mostly online, but we're looking at a franchise deal right now. That's an offline business. Actually, a couple offline businesses. But so yeah, very open to both types of businesses. And there's a ton of opportunity in both. So I think, if you're somebody who's just looking to do a deal, I wouldn't close off one or the other. Actually, I was talking to Justin. If you haven't checked out Web Equity Show, be sure to check out Web Equity Show. I do that with Justin Cook. He's from one of the founders of Empire Flippers. And we're talking about this whole thing of online versus offline. And right now, for my personal deals, I'm only doing offline. I don't want to do any online deals just because there's way too many opportunities. And now we're moving the funds in that direction as well. And when I look at even deal makers, I talk about those two deals that we closed before. That would have been, the two deals we closed this month in DMI. It definitely would have been internet deals 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 5 years ago, probably from 2010 maybe to 2018. Those would have been internet businesses. Like it was just 90% of the deals. Now I'd say in general, just 90%. I'm looking at the new deals that we're closing, and it's literally the opposite. So there's a ton of opportunity offline, and it just ebbs and flows. You know what I mean? Like before that, maybe 2000 to 2008, I was all offline. And, eventually that slowly started to balance out. 2008 to 2012, like I said, 2012 to 2018, all internet. Now we're over in the other world where internet deals are just the multiples have gotten really outrageous, really outrageous. All right, True Heavy says 50 million and 500 million revenue size. I've never done that, so I wouldn't try to give you advice. I only talk about stuff I've done and do, and don't take advice from anybody who doesn't do what they're talking about. I think that's one of the cool things, like when I come here, it really is to share stuff and talk to you guys about what I'm up to. I'm not on YouTube every day trying to pitch or trying to sell or any of that stuff, or trying to talk about stuff I'm not doing. I'm the 90% of my time is doing, and 10%, probably less than that. Hopefully, actually, I don't even want 10% of my time to be talking about it. I'd like for probably 2% of my time to be talking about what I'm doing. Mike Weiss says, low hanging fruit is fatter than it's ever been. Thanks. Yeah, it really is, man. It really is. True Hefty, thank you, Ace. Appreciate it. No problem. Sorry I can't help you there. Thanks for jumping on. All right, guys. Speaking of which, let's get back to work. Thank you all for jumping on. Really great questions, as always. If you're interested in starting a fund where I invest $100,000 of my own cash into your fund, feel free to reach out, shoot an email to Nori. You can send an email to Nori at Financier Bank with a C. That's BANC and we'll get you on the list. So the spots obviously are taken for 4. We've got some folks that are already on the waiting list for 5. But now is the time, because every time I do it, people reach out. They're like, I wanted to join. It's like, okay, you got to get don't wait until I'm in the middle of interviewing to get on the list. So if you're interested in that, get on the list now. Be proactive, not reactive. And look forward to working with you. Be sure to like the video and feel free to comment any questions or any of that. Next call, I will be sure to have Rovi or someone go through y'all's questions for the comments, and I'll be sure to answer those kind of at the beginning. Thanks for jumping on.